Connection.
Hello.
Hey, beautiful. How are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I'm so excited that you're here today.
Thank you.
Yes. So welcome, guys. Welcome to Elegant Conversation with Jacqueline Valdez. And I'm super excited for our guest. She's an author. She's a yoga instructor. She's got a beautiful spirit, beautiful soul, and then also very inspiring. And your book is Brave, Beautiful, Bearing It All. And then also a big social media sensation.
Just an ordinary girl.
Just an ordinary girl. Yes, Miss Rhyanna Watson. Did I say that right?
Rhyanna Banana.
Okay.
Close enough.
Correct me. So how are you doing today?
I'm good. And how are you?
I'm doing well, hanging in there.
Yes, super.
So tell us a little bit about your book.
So my book came about with the opportunity through social media, through Instagram. Okay. They kind of saw my writing, and then we kind of went through an interview process, and
nice.
And they realized that there's more than meets the eye to people on social media, you know.
Right.
Not everything is how we labelize it, and it's a good place to tell a story. So yes. Yeah. So then the book came about, and it used like some of my writing, some of my experience, some suggestions to kind of, I don't know, for us all to be imperfect and take our masks down and just work on ourselves rather than trying to share perfection or not. Kind of like, yeah, okay, got this today, but tomorrow, yeah, I've totally lost, you know?
Yeah,
like,
and I love that. I love that you're so raw and you're so real, and you're like, this is me. This is, here I am.
Yeah.
I love that.
I think, you know, sometimes I've seen like, I don't know, people in the world, and they're quite beautiful and perfect, like celebrities, and then you have these terrible media outlets, and they show the human side of it, and I want to be human from the start, like, because it's much easier to empower ourselves and not be held back by our shame, and we've all got enough healing we need to do without social media impacting it further.
Yes, very true. You have so much love. Hi, guys. Thank you for tuning in. So excited. Welcome. So what words of advice would you give someone who has had a difficult life and they've been through some traumas, but they just don't really know how to, I guess, tear that wall down and take that mask down and just be authentic in themselves and be okay in themselves?
I think it's a big process, and it's very different for all. And I think the biggest realization is that you have to take responsibility, and it's such a shit thing really to say, because and I say that with immense underline and underscore, because when you say that, you basically give back the power to that person that feels so powerless.
Right.
But that's the only place to start, is where you are with whom you are right now. And if that means that yesterday you were stuck in bed and today you got out just to make yourself a coffee or a tea or a grab of water, and then you go back in, that's one step to improvement. It's not this 30-day plan, you know. It's not this here's the steps up the pyramid or whatever. It's this one moment, or it's this you know, we've got 1,000 great pieces of information on social media, whatever you want to learn.
True.
But we're always stepping between hundreds of them. And we're like, how do we improve our flexibility? How do we improve meditation? It's like, step in one of them and take the full journey till you find out if it's your journey or not, right? So step into meditation, commit to it for 3 months, and do it every day, even if it's like, I'm suggesting 5-10 minutes, and see what happens. But don't step in for one day an hour and one day 5 minutes and then nothing, and say it hasn't worked, you know. Really step into the process of it rather than dancing from left to right. It just won't it won't bring you anything. It'll bring you like, here's a piece and here's a piece, and
you're kind of all over.
Right.
That makes sense. And just stay and follow that journey, and then just let it be organic. I think a lot of people try to force it too.
Yeah, and I think when you fall down again, like, it's okay. Like, no one's on a pedestal, and we all continue to fall down. It's like a child learning to walk. Then they learn to walk. Then they've got to learn to run, and then they learn maths, and then they learn English. And if you watch a childhood development, they go through tantrums, and they go through crying, and they go through pushing back on parents, and then they become an adult. And then as an adult, you know, you go through these stages until one day you're like, okay, hi, nice to meet you. And then 10 years later, you're like, I can't believe I was that person. Like, oh my God, you know, like,
that's
so the process, right?
So true. Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that so much. So as far as future projects coming up, what do you have coming up in the future that we can look out for?
Yeah, I'm just kind of at the moment, like the book is selling, and so that would be lovely if it keeps selling in a great way. Then there's a possibility to do a second book, which would be amazing. I'm working, hopefully, if travel comes in next year, to be a teacher assistant with an amazing teacher who kindly nourished my training, Blissology.
Very cool.
In the future, I really want to work into potentially doing some of my own retreats and own kind of more substantial stuff in life. So it's just kind of waiting for the world to evolve, and I think everything will come at its own stage, and then, you know, seeing what the wind blows in.
Very cool. Very cool. So how do you keep yourself centered during this whole quarantine time?
To be honest, I think we're all grieving the loss of what was normal. So there's a lot of anxiety and depression for everybody, and on different days, and can't really place an understanding to it because we don't really understand it yet. But I think that the biggest thing to understand is we're all grieving. So there's a trigger for all of us. Some of us are triggered larger and some less. But for me, because I lived in Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, it's
wow.
I'm kind of had an experience where I lived inside and with a 2-year-old that I don't feel that it's any different, but I'm handling it way better than last time. So, you know, that's fantastic and exciting. You know, I've still got my ups and downs and misalignments, but I'm kind of really grateful that I'm handling it better than last time. I think if it had been only the first time, it would be a lot more intense. Different. But I think also for me, I think a big thing is our life is the sum total of our habits. So it's about placing and stepping stones of habits in that will nourish us through this process. So if a lot of people have been in lockdown, so they haven't been able to go to work, well, there's a lot of online content. What did you always want to learn?
True.
So commit to that for the period of time that you have stuck instead of swiping through social media. Or what books have you always wanted to learn? Or,
I love
one of the things that I've found hard is there's a lot of ghosting on social media and a lot of ghosting within families because we have too much connection sometimes. And the reason we often ghost, and we all have done it, is because we don't know how to respond. We are uncomfortable, right? And we don't have the right response. So we're not bad people, and nobody's a bad person. Some people are a little bit more challenging than others.
Yes, I love that.
But there's a ground behind it. And I think the thing is to understand that we're not isolated. We should like, I haven't spoken to some girlfriends for maybe 10 years, and we went to school together, and we all got on the phone and called, and one of them's going through cancer for her little daughter, and one's in London, two's in Australia, and others somewhere else, and I'm in Switzerland. And we're like, why don't we get together, you know? Make a routine to call people you love and let them know, because the chances are, if you're struggling, you are the mirror you give and receive. So shine, even if you don't really have a conversation, you just sit there and drink a cup of tea. That's connection, right?
That's true. I love that. And it's like you said, I feel like the universe is telling us to slow down and appreciate one another and take time to improve and work on yourself, and dig deep on yourself too, and like spread love amongst each other.
And I think that's the thing we have to, the world is full of crap. I'm just going to say it. And there's a lot of, as my yoga teacher says, we get a lot of things that we didn't order, right? We also get a lot of things that we create that we did order that we didn't know that we ordered because of our choices, right? But it's about focusing on, okay, right now, what can I do that's more positive, in a positive direction, than continuing on this suffering, right? So the actual understanding is that positivity or bettering ourselves or growth is super uncomfortable, but it's super uncomfortable now, but it's planting seeds of hope for later.
You have to go through that darkness.
And it's very, very hard. Like, if you choose to live a life of whatever you're living that's really challenging, your life will be super hard. But if you choose to grow, your life will also be super hard, because there'll be a zillion people that will tell you no both avenues, and there'll be a zillion question marks along the way both avenues. The only difference I can see, and a positive difference, is the potential for planting seeds of hope and faith and goals rather than nothing at all.
I love that. I love that. Planting seeds.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It might take 10 years or so, but that's okay, right?
Right? You have time. You don't have to like put pressure on yourself. And I think that's what people do, is they put a lot of pressure on themselves, that things need to change right away. Things need to happen right away, and not just enjoying the moment and just enjoying the journey.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all we have really, you know. Like,
yes.
And that's the hardest thing for all of us. You know, we sit down and we're like, go do this. I didn't do this right.
Yeah.
And then you're sitting here and you're like, then you get to the next moment. You're like, why did I waste that moment? You know, so at some point you have to go, okay, I've got to really own this moment. What can I do with it? And then maybe in the week you own 7 moments. We're only 7, right? And then the next you own 10, and then
I love that.
And then you get more of 60% you're owning, and 40% you're still, you know, and the slow positives occur, but it's never a leap in success. And you might go 60% you're owning back to 50% you're owning, and but you're
the ups and downs
in the picture, right?
I love that. I love that. So much love for you, beautiful goddess. People send hearts. Love. Thank you. You've got beautiful eyes. So inspiring. Hi, guys.
Hello.
So what is the question that people tend to ask you a lot when they reach out to you?
Because
you are so inspiring to so many people.
I think a lot of people kindly say that, and I'm really humbled, but I'm just like this human like you all, living a life, and I think I might be like the name where there's X amount of people on my social following, but every one of you are really what it's about. Like, we're a community of like-minded souls. So I don't really envision myself as anything, you know. I just envision myself, I put my name there, and so we're all congregating like at Los Angeles and having a good time sharing our stories, you know. That's kind of my view. And I think a lot of people ask, like, how do you get happier, or how do you get as flexible as you, or how do you be so vulnerable? And I think, as I just said before, it's just a step by step. And back a couple of years ago, you know, when I attempted on my life and had some other traumas, it wasn't working for me. It really wasn't working for me, because I wasn't owning anything. I didn't know anything, and it was so hard, you know. And I realized in that moment, like, life's hard, but it shouldn't be so hard. Yeah. So if it's going to be always hard, because I think it's the art of suffering well, my personal opinion. Let's choose the easy route of suffering well, which means let's start working on things that I can do and change. So 7 years ago, after my daughter was born, you know, I started stretching and doing yoga every day. I do Instagram videos and YouTube videos. I don't have a background in it. And now 7, 8 years later, I'm like, oh, wow, you know, all these possible things, you know. So I think, and, you know, no, I'm not happy 100% of the time, you know, but I am whole more often than, and that's what I'm huge. I'm trying to share, right? And I'm not perfect. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want, you know, and I want to share is, you know, I'm just as messed up as the rest of them. And so when people say, oh, you know, you're perfect or all this, it's like,
there's no such thing.
Yeah, just human, and I'm just working on myself. And I hope that in some way, some piece that I share will give you the catalyst to work on yourself in whatever way you need. Like, I don't have the answers to pretty much anything. I just have, here's a whole heap of tools. Here are my tools, and pick out a few.
Share your knowledge.
Step in with them, and then you won't be the same as me, but you'll definitely get some pieces of your puzzle together, right? And then go over to Elegant Jacqueline, and then listen to another couple of people, and then you're like, I like that, him or her, and then go and pick out their stories and use their stories. So don't just use one person.
I love that, because as I've been doing the show, I've been meeting so many incredible people, and I've been inspired by everyone. There's little things that I get from every soul, and I'm just like, it's amazing. There's so much incredible people out there.
It is true. And like, we are the sum total of the people we've connected with, right? Yeah. So we're all reinventing the wheel of information. Nobody owns anything, but it's so cool to see your version of everyone that you've met shining through your soul in its uniqueness.
Yes, I love that. I love that. So what is your favorite yoga pose to do?
Oh, it's always changing. I think I'm on handstands at the moment.
Nice.
I'm working towards like a contortion handstand. So and I hated middle splits, but now I'm beginning to love them because I'm really actively working on them in the last 6 months. But I don't love them. I just am beginning to love them. I think I love the ones that just move my soul in the moment with what I need. So it's the ones where I put on a piece of music and I'm like,
just going.
Yeah, I think every day, like, some part of your body just goes in something. But I don't think it's like the same pose. I find handstands awe-inspiring. But not every day do I want to do them, because some days I'm just not centered enough. Like, you have to be centered.
You have to be so centered. They scare me. I was in a car accident years ago, and so ever since I hurt my neck, I'm kind of terrified of handstands, but I'm trying to work through that.
My friend, she also damaged her neck, and she thought she would never practice again, and she's now doing handstands. So
nice.
Yeah, she still goes to the physio because she gets twinges and stuff, but she's proven that she's possible by doing, you know, slowly and just listening to the body. So I think there's definitely scope.
Listening to the body is definitely huge, and confronting those past traumas with the body too, and talking your body through and saying, you know, it's going to be okay. My neck's fine. I can do these handstands on the wall. Go for it.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, you've got to kind of, it's this huge communication process, and a lot of people just think, oh, you just jump up, you just jump down, but it's there's a whole lot of conversation happening in the parasympathetic and sympathetic
mind and body connection for sure. For sure. So how long does it take you to put together when you're writing something?
Well, with my proofreading skills, it takes me a lot longer. So I usually make a lot of mistakes.
I feel you.
I'm always like, damn it. And then I post it and I'm like, not again. There's still another one.
Me too. Scribble. I feel you.
I think it's just like, maybe, you know, it could be half an hour. It could come out in 5 minutes. It could be an hour where I have to come back because it's just not feeling connected. So most of my posts are some type of internal / external connection. So I've read something, I felt something, and then I'm like tossing and mixing the cake together, you know. And so so
I love it.
a lot of them I try to post like now, present, you know. And then sometimes I write them and then I rewrite them when I go to post them, so it doesn't feel right then, but it has the context of what I need. Right.
Very cool. Very cool. So how long did it take you to become social media, I guess, inspiration? Was it something that just kind of happened overnight, or was it when you really just finally tuned yourself and were just like, here I am, and then everyone just resonated with it?
I think I'm pretty terrible on statistics and numbers. I mean, I didn't even know when I hit the 100,000 mark. I wasn't. Someone wrote to me and said congratulations, and I've never really kind of. I'm honored, but never really celebrated it because it doesn't. It's not me. It's everyone else. You know. Like I'm one person of the 100,000, so it's everyone.
I love that about you too.
Oh, thank you. So I'm trying to think how to put this. I think it just was this journey, like climbing the mountain, you know, and at some point more people came for different reasons. And then I think my book gave me substance. So that was nice in January when people saw that I wasn't like, there was more than meets the eye. They're like, wow, I didn't know you went through that. And that really was special to me. To finally be seen, not to be observed in the way with stories being attached.
Right.
So I think it was just a process. I don't really know. I think it's just a process of us all just coming together and saying, hey, cool. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we just kind of kept journeying together along the course of that, in our own ways.
Yeah, and I think it's so interesting, like you said, how the attraction between the same kind of energies between people and just kind of appreciating and respecting each other and going through a journey together.
Yeah, and I think also there are some people I meet that we're like questionable or
right.
State some strong sense of opinions, and when I talk to them and I share, when they have a great heart, they're like,
right.
Ah, okay. Because a lot of people tend to, when you come up against a strong person or an inappropriate person, we've got a lot of, you know,
right, opinions.
It's block.
Yeah.
But if you think about that, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for you because you're triggered. Firstly, you're often triggered with a difficult human.
Good point.
Because they're actually our teachers in a lot of ways for our triggers to grow. And the second thing is that, what if you just talk to this person and got to know their story, why they're coming across this way, if they will allow you? And then you're mix in when they ask you. And then suddenly you have like respect.
Yeah.
It's not love and maybe not even like, but you have respect, so you have less hate in the platform.
True. You have some understanding.
Yeah. So
Makes sense.
I think it's always kind of important for me. I've always, you know, there's been a lot of misunderstandings, and I've really tried to, I'll give you a moment, I'll try and share with you what I can when I can, and I hope that we can come to some like harmony, even if we are going separate ways, because we don't want to carry hate anymore, and we will, like, I will be deflated because this person's horrible, and they will be, you know, wherever they are, deflated or egotistic because they think they've won, and there's all this misunderstanding, and the past repeats. So I think it's important to kind of lessen the chance of the past repeating and more growth being a possibility.
I love that. I love that. That's a good way to approach it for sure. I will definitely think about that too.
Thank you.
So what is it that you want to be remembered by?
I want to be remembered by my daughter's happiness, and I did a reasonable job. That would be great. I know I'm not the keeper of it, but I hope that she has a sense of wholeness more than I did. You know, I was able to give her more lessons to be a little bit more,
nice.
Not having to go through those traumas, at least on her internal world.
Right.
And then her individuality at the same time. So whatever she becomes, you know, that's just a reflection of her having been allowed to be herself in the world. Like, I want her to become whoever she wants to become and be passionate. I want her to be a passionate person. I don't mind what it's in, you know, so I'd love her to be one of those passionate. And then for me personally, thank you.
Shout out to the pretty daughter. We love you.
I really just want to be a person that's brought love into the world, and I'm not sure how that works. I just want to be one of those people that when you talk about her, that you talk about a lesson learned and you pass it down the line, and it doesn't even have to have my name. It could be anonymous, but somewhere my lesson or information or teaching impacted your life in a positive way, and whether my name's attached to it or not, I don't mind. I just want to be a positive light.
Nice. Oh, I love that. Was there anything else you wanted to say to the viewers?
I just want to thank you for the time. It's really humbling.
Of course.
And I also want to thank you for reaching out. I mean, it's such a beautiful gift for me, like connecting with another woman that we can share joy and happiness in another soul. And I think I just want to say also personally, I think you're absolutely gorgeous. Your energy and your smile and
you're so sweet.
it just has lightened my whole day even more than before. I feel like so empowered. So I hope you know how beautiful you are inside and out.
Oh, thank you. You too, lovely. It's been wonderful. Thank you so much. It was such an honor to have you on the show, and you gave so much words of wisdom, and we will follow you and go along with you on your journey.
Thank you. And I hope you all have a magical day.
You too. Bye, love.
Bye.